but nobody has no place to go. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Welcome to the party, pal!
Christmas season is finally here, and while everyone has an opinion on their holiday favourite, Bill Murray's Scrooge, It's a Wonderful Life, The Santa Claus, The Muppets Christmas Carol, the list goes on. But unless your answer is Die Hard, then you're wrong. Of course I'm kidding. However, there's one thing we can all agree on, that it's the most badass Christmas movie. Wait, you say it's not a Christmas movie? Well, let's all have a look and see if we can finally resolve this 34-year-old question. While many filmgoers are under the impression that Die Hard is not a Christmas film, I'd like to say that Die Hard, like many Christmas movies, tells a fundamentally human story about connection and familial love against a backdrop of bright lights, green trees, and white powder, even if it's cocaine in this case. Directed by John McTiernan, actors Bruce Willis and the late Alan Rickman made their big screen debuts. The movie, which debuted in 1988, changed the game for the film business, and it's still the benchmark for action films 3 decades later. Die Hard, which cost $28 million to produce and debuted to mixed reviews from critics, went on to earn nearly $140 million worldwide, not accounting for inflation. It also served as a catalyst for the Die Hard franchise, which has spawned 4 follow-up films, several video games, a comic book, and a ton more, including the best sequel never made, but I'll make a video on that another day. Die Hard has received numerous honours, including being called one of the best action and Christmas-themed movies ever made, ranked 20th on Empire's list of the 100 greatest films ever made, and been chosen for the preservation in the United States National Film Registry. But what makes Die Hard such a Christmas classic, you ask? Well, firstly, Die Hard is a touching film about spending the holidays at home, but with explosions. You might also be surprised, or not, to learn that the most infamous shoot-'em-up movies in Hollywood history was inspired by a book. Roderick Thorne, Nothing Lasts Forever is a sequel to The Detective, which was adapted in a moderately successful Frank Sinatra film in 1968. It follows a retired private eye who reunites with an estranged daughter and grandchild at a corporate Christmas party held in a Los Angeles skyscraper. However, both the party and the building are taken over by German terrorists, leaving the elderly officer to fight for his life and family. Secondly, John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, is the kind of everyday family man we root for, especially during the holidays. Bruce Willis's performance as John McClane, which was an unexpected pick for the role, and let's face it, the movie's main selling point is crucial to the success of Die Hard. The public found it unintentionally funny that this actor was an action hero because he was previously known as an amiable, human, everyday man. After hearing stories of crowds laughing and even booing during previews,
well, the crowd doesn't like the decision, just give me a minute here.
Even the studio had second thoughts about the choice and decided to emphasise, instead of the 70mm spectacle and skyscraper backdrop, by removing the star from the final lobby cards promoting Die Hard. The moment Die Hard premiered in theatres in July 1988, the doubters were finally put to rest. The picture became the 7th highest grossing Hollywood movie of the year thanks to its clever, heartfelt mayhem, which also inspired a somewhat successful franchise. The Deputy Police Chief Dwayne T. Robinson, The Breakfast Club's Paul Gleason, a contrarian whose terrible judgment serves the plot but stretches any metric of plausibility. He stands out as one of the aspects of the most glorious, entertaining parts of the movie. He stands out as a grown-worthy and underdeveloped. He does stupid things because the plot needs him to, which is a weakness of the scripts. In fact, it was because of this character that Roger Ebert notoriously gave the movie a bad review. He praised the 2 immediate sequels. Although it is undoubtedly the poorest part of an otherwise excellent thriller, McClane may become even more realistic and empathetic as a result of the schmuck's difficulties. Thirdly, Die Hard sends a clear message about the importance of family over greed and materialism. The typical audience member wants a hero with morals, who stands for things we all do, and what do we cherish more than family? This may be truer than ever during the holidays. McClane, a cop who has struggled to balance job, life and love life, gets our sympathies early on, a pivotal point in his career when he had to prove himself. Like most people, he is tough around the edges to foil a terrorist theft while also being humble enough to apologise to his neglected wife. He did this while wearing neither shoes nor a shirt. On the other end of the scale comes Rickman's Gruber, an all-time great villain, who also puts on a star-making performance. Gruber is undeniably charming, just like McClane, but he's more flamboyant in his culture and refinement than everyman McClane. In the end, his vacuous avarice brings about his rather literal demise. Side note, it took a full day to film the famous dying scene, and Alan Rickman really did have that unmistakable expression of dread in his eyes. He was abruptly and early dropped from a rig by the stunt squad.
Remember this count 2, count 3 thing? I just remember that, again with the benefit of hindsight, I looked at the faces of some slightly incredulous producers when I said that I would do it myself. And it was being dropped from about 40 feet, as I recall. And of course, because this was in the days of, there wasn't any CGI. So it was, let's drop the actor. and hope that he doesn't spin around in the middle of the floor and land on his head and kill himself. They were very careful to make it my very last shot on the film.
Although It's a Wonderful Life doesn't feature as many C4 explosions as Die Hard, the two films have a lot in common where it matters. In both movies, a flawed but kind-hearted character goes through a crisis and learns new lessons about his relationships and purpose as a result. That's a major factor in the longevity of both films' appeal. They leave us feeling incredibly positive and optimistic. Fourthly, Die Hard makes good use of the holiday backdrop. Here's maybe the clearest justification for why Die Hard is unquestionably a holiday movie. The 132-minute film is set around the Christmas season, and that setting plays a crucial role throughout, both creatively and comically. The lovable good guy cop Al Powell, Reginald Val Johnson, innocently singing Let It Snow before a baddie's bloody corpse falls several stories and into his patrol car, and all hell breaks loose, are two of the funniest holiday-themed scenes in Die Hard, along with a memorable joyful instrumental cue in the third act. Then there's Argyle, the intrepid limo driver, who ends the scene by saying,
"This is their idea of Christmas. I gotta be there for New Year's."
And fifth, Die Hard, like so many of the best Christmas movies, is a little formulaic, over the top and comforting. Die Hard stands out for its unexpected elements, an unlikely star's delicious villain, a wealth of wise-ass humour, a touching romance and an even more touching bromance. It also follows the same formula as many of the Christmas movies we watch and repeat every year. The novel on which it's based concludes in a tragedy. Our grizzled, already bitter hero watches helplessly as his daughter falls 30 stories to her death. When done right, bleaker, even downbeat thrillers have a place, but the Die Hard filmmakers were correct to heavily rework the source material. Die Hard is a complex but concise hero's journey. Die Hard appeals to the child in all of us, and I'm sure we'll be discussing it for decades to come. It's ironic that it all began with the book Nothing Lasts Forever. Die Hard is a classic Christmas film that will live on forever. But what do you think? Is Die Hard your go-to Christmas movie? Or even after all this, do you still believe it's not to be a Christmas movie? And if so, why? As always, thanks for listening and have a great Christmas season. And please don't forget to like and subscribe for more British Christmas rambles in the future.